Greetings, everybody. Welcome to our first of many series on the Rambam. We have a lot of Rambam stuff on this channel. We're going to go through the Mishnah with his commentary. We're going to go through a Sefer Mitzvahs. We've already begun a Mor Nevuchim class, and tonight we're going to begin his monumental Mishneh Torah, his code of law. Starting with the very monumental and fundamental introduction, where it gives a whole overview to the oral law. We're going to do this in nice, friendly 20-minute installments. So it's, gives you plenty of time. I'm not going to overwhelm you, and it's easy to internalize and memorize. So the Rambam opens up with the pasuk, "Oz lo evosh ba'avitil komsar." I will not, be ashamed as I look over all your mitzvahs, Right? That the Rambam brings that pasuk, to say that with this book you'll be ba'avitil kol mitzvosecha. I will look at all your mitzvahs. This book is the comprehensive code of Jewish law. All the mitzvahs, be it the ones that apply in this day and age, be it the ones that apply when we have a temple and we're sitting firmly in our land. Right? This is the entirety of Jewish law. But the Rambam wrote a monumental, introduction explaining the structure of Torah and explaining the structure of Jewish law. The oral law, rather, per se, and going through the 40 generations from Moshe until Rabina and Ravashi, who sealed, the Talmud, finalized the Talmud, showing how everything we have is goes all the way back to Moshe, who got it directly from God. Without further ado, right? All the mitzvahs, all the commandments are given to Moshe at Sinai from God himself, were given with their full explanation. God didn't leave Moshe with any guesswork. He explained everything fully. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, this Parshas Kisisa, of Exodus. I will give you the tablets of stone, the Torah and the mitzvah, Torah and its commandments. Torah zu Torah shebechsav. Torah is the written law, right? The word Torah in this pasuk. And the word mitzvah, commandment, is pasuk zu perusha. This refers to the explanation, all the explanations as to what the Torah means, what the psukim mean. The Torah has commanded us, the Hashem has commanded us to do the Torah based on a mitzvah, meaning apply and understand and apply the written law based on how it is explained in the commandment, i.e. explained in the oral law. Keep the oral law in accord, keep the written law, apply it, understand it and apply it as it is explained in the oral law. Mitzvah and this commandment that refers to the explanation, Nick Torah Shabbat Peh, it is which is called Torah Shabbat Peh, the Torah that is in the mouth, the oral law. Right? So the mitzvah, which is the pirush, which is a commentary on Torah, the explanation of Torah, is called in our lexicon Torah Shabbat Peh, the oral law. So now the whole 5 books of Moses, right? The Torah scroll was written by Moshe Rabbeinu himself, obviously by word of God, God's words. Moshe Rabbeinu wrote down God's words before he died with his own handwriting. V'nasan Sefer L'chol Shevet v'Shevet. He gave a Sefer Torah, a whole Torah scroll, to each tribe and tribe of the 12 tribes of Israel. So this right? And he put one, there was a 13th Torah scroll, and that was put aside for the ark that held the tablets, right? And that would be like a testimony, meaning if there's ever a doubt, you go, how to write something, you match it up against that, that would be like the sample, like that would be like as it were, putting it in a, yeah, for lack of a better, like putting it in our version of the Smithsonian Institute. If ever a doubt should arise in how to write the Torah, there's that one in safekeeping that will always be the prime example. As Moshe was specifically commanded, as it said, to do so, as it says, Pasuk says, take this Sefer Torah and put it aside from the ark. That means there'll be one special one that will be aside the ark, right? Aside from the one that was granted to each tribe and tribe. Mitzvah Shia Pirush Torah, but the thing which the pasuk refers to, before as the mitzvah, which is the Pirush Torah, which is the explanation, the commentary on Torah. Lo so that Moshe Rabbeinu did not write, right? Because as we're going to learn, it's not supposed to be written; it's supposed to remain oral. Right, so Moshe did not write the Pirush Torah. He didn't write the mitzvah, which is the Pirush Torah, which is what we call Torah Shabbat. But rather he commanded it to the elders, Yoshua, and to Yoshua, who was his eighth student. He also taught it to all the other of the Jewish people. The Rambam here alluding to what the Gemara says, that Moshe, taught the Torah, to Aaron, and he taught it then to the Aaron and his kids, and then he taught it to the whole Sanhedrin, then he taught it to the whole Jewish people. But of course, Yoshua was, ever present. Yoshua Nar Lo Yomish B'Tochel, Yoshua, the Moshe's lad, he just would not leave the tent. So it seems even Yoshua even eavesdropped on my good friend Ari Khan surmised Yoshua must eavesdrop, even by the other times that Moshe Rabbeinu was teaching to other people, right? Right, as it says, that which I command you, you should keep to perform, right? So, meaning all these things. There's what Moshe wrote, and there's what he commanded us. What he wrote, in the Sefer Torah, that's the written law. What he commanded us, that's the oral law. Now, with that reason, it was all right. Because of this, it is called the Torah Sheba'al Peh, the oral law. So now, even though it wasn't written, right, but nonetheless, it was fully taught and taught and taught, right? I guess it means even though it wasn't written, right? So, books are easy to tell people to read this. Hey, do your homework. All right, so, overcoming the disadvantage that it was not written, right? Moshe Rabbeinu, to supplement for that disadvantage that it remained oral, Moshe Rabbeinu just taught it in its entirety in his based it in his rabbinical court. The children came to the 70 elders. Those are people and now in particular, all the 70 elders were excellent students, but Elazar, the son of Aaron, Pinchas, right, Elazar's son, and Yoshua, Shoshtan Kibul of Moshe, right? Those three received from Moshe everything that he learned. They became particularly proficient. Yoshua Tabish Moshe Shel Moshe Rabbeinu Master Rabbeinu, right? So now Yoshua, who was Moshe's ace student, so Moshe, to him in particular, Moshe handed the entirety of the oral law and commanded him to be the guardian of it. And the Ram now is explaining what it means that Moshe Kibal in the Mishneh of Moshe Kibal Torah Sinai, Masrul Yoshua, Moshe got Torah at Sinai and he handed it to Yoshua. Means, of course, Moshe taught it, didn't just teach Yoshua. He taught everybody. And that's necessary. Otherwise, how do you know? How could the nation have faith in Yoshua's telling them exactly what Moshe heard from God Himself? Right? So they know because they also learned from Moshe. But Yoshua had a special position, like being like the guardian, right, of the Torah Sheba'al Peh, as he was Yoshua's ace student. Now, what that also means in halacha terms, that means he was the head of the rabbinical court of the elders. So he commanded him to be particularly, careful, to safeguard the oral law. Now Yeshua also followed the example of Moshe, and he was, the leader of the generation. So he was the prime teacher, and he his whole life taught the Torah, the oral Torah, orally, just like Moshe taught it. This came Ram Yeshua. Right, so now many of the elders received Torah from Yoshua. The Kibel Eli Minas Kenemi Pinchas, and now Eli Cohen, who was the Rebbe, the master of Shmuel, the prophet Samuel. Right, so now Eli, had, he was a student of, of the elders, in general, but of Pinchas in particular. The Shmuel and Pinchas, like we learned before, is one of the outstanding scholars that had full command of it. Now, there's a Rambam here saying, so let's be a little bit more specific. The Rambam saying, of course, Moshe shared the Torah with all the Jewish people, but there are some people that were, had, tremendous grasp and control and retention more than others. So Pinchas is one of these star students, but it was Yoshua was the superstar. But after Yoshua, there was Elazar and Pinchas. So Eli didn't just circulate amongst the 70 elders, but he also learned by the master student Pinchas. Right? But Shmuel came up Eli Beis now that Shmuel learned from Eli and from his entire rabbinical court. The David Kibel Mishmuel Beis and our King David, right? Received his learning from Shmuel and his whole rabbinical court. So now the Rambam, as the Riva disagrees with him, but the Rambam holds that Achia Shiloni, who was the Rebbe of Eliyahu Hanavi and Yeravim ben Nevat before he went bad, right? Achia Shiloni lived a very long life, and he was actually alive according to Rambam. He was a Levi, for the tribe of Levi that was alive at the time that they left Egypt, and he actually heard Moshe's teachings. He had the privilege to be there and hear from Moshe, even though he wasn't like Yoshua status, but he had heard from Moshe, right? As Moshe taught the whole Jewish people. But since he lived an extremely long life and he was forever a student that always wanted to increase his knowledge, he just kept on learning from everybody, even from King David and his rabbinical court. Right? So he spanned many generations and he heard it from. So he didn't take a leadership role, and did not take a role as being one of the transmitters until after the time of King David. But during that whole time, he was learning from Moshe straight through King David. Right? Velio Kibel Machia Shiloni Ubeis and Eliyahu Navi, Prophet Elijah. Eliyahu Navi, he's the one who received his learning, the transmission from Achia Shiloni and his rabbinical court. Ve'Elisha Kibel Me'Eliyahu, and Elisha, Prophet Elisha, received from Eliyahu and his rabbinical court. Right, received it from Elisha and his rabbinical court. Zechariah Kibel Miyoyada based, and Zechariah the prophet received it from Yehoyada and his rabbinical court. Hosea and the prophet Hosea, he received his learning from Zechariah, Ubeza, and rabbinical court. Zechariah and his rabbinical court. The Amos and the prophet Amos, he received from Hosea and his rabbinical court. Yeshaya, Amos, and the prophet Isaiah, Yeshaya Navi, he received from Amos and his rabbinical court. Umicha, and Micha received the transmission, the oral law. I received it from Yeshayahu and his rabbinical court. Yoel kiba Micha Beisan Yoel, the prophet Joel. Prophet Yoel received, the transmission of the oral law from Micha and his rabbinical court. Then Nachum kiba Yoel Beisan. Nachum received it from Yoel and his rabbinical court. Bechabakuk kiba mi Nachum Beisan, and Navi Chabakuk, Prophet Habakkuk, got it from Nachum and his rabbinical court. Utvanya Kiba Habakkuk Beizah, and Tzfanya received it, received the translation from Habakkuk and his rabbinical court. B'yam Kiba Mitzvanya Beizah, and the prophet Jeremiah. Yirmiyahu received it from Tzfanya and his rabbinical court. Baruch ben Neriah, Kiryam Beizah, and Baruch ben Neriah, Baruch the son of Neriah, received it from Yirmiyahu and his rabbinical court. The Ezra, and Ezra led us back to the Second Commonwealth and rebuilt the Second Temple. The Ezra based Dino, now Ezra and his whole rabbinical court. Hebrew mi Baruch ben Neriah based Dino, they received it from Baruch ben Neriah and his based in. Based Dino shel Ezra Heman Ikram Anchik Sagdola. So now the based in, the rabbinical court of Ezra had a special name, Anshek Nesagdola. Now the Rambam alluded that it says, it seems that, they were all super proficient, not just Ezra. As he says, Ezra and his rabbinical court. Right? Received from Baruch ben Neriah and his rabbinical court. Seems that a lot of people there as much student hours under their belt as Ezra himself, receiving, so it seems his entire rabbinical court also received the transmission as equally as he did from, so that's why they're very special superstar rabbinical court that was called Yad Hachazaka, and also had was the all stars. It had prophets in it. Right, the special rabbinical court of Ezra is called the Anshek Hagdolah, the men of the great assembly. The Haman, and now some of the superstars that were in that, Anshek Hagdolah, that super rabbinical court, Chagai, Scharia, Malachi, the prophets Chagi, Scharia, and Malachi. There were two Scharias. There was a Scharia the first that was during the first temple period, and there's a Scharia that was, at the beginning of the second time period. Right, it's Scharia the second, so the Nabi Chagi, Scharia the second, Malachi was the last of the prophets. Daniel, from the book of Daniel, the Hananiah, Mishael, and also the three great saints that were willing to sacrifice themselves to sanctify God's name and not bow to the idol of Nebuchadnezzar. They were thrown into the fire and miraculously survived. And those three were Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. They're also part of this. Since it was Marsh, the All Stars. They were in that super rabbinical court. Right, and also Nehemiah, who also was one of the leaders at the time of rebuilding the second temple. Mordechai Bilshan and Mordechai Bilshan, who appears in that book of Nehemiah. The question, or he appears in Ezra and Nehemiah. And there is speculation that he is the same Mordechai as in the Mordechai that of the story of Purim, Megillas Esther. But but the Ram leaves it up to speculation whether he believes it's the same Mordechai or not. He calls it Mordechai Bilshan, right, which is the way it's written over there. With Zerubbabel, right, and Zerubbabel was one of the princes from the house of David, right. And there were like many other wise in Tashum, they were 120 of them altogether, 120, because I guess none of these 120 could be excluded. They were all so great, so special. Generally, the Grand Rabbinical Court has to be 71. It's called the price of time. There's always around one more to be a tiebreaker. I guess over here, it presumably means 121, right? So 120 we round it down, but so it has to be an odd number. And over here there was especially huge peasant because there were just so many super qualified people. This as we're going to learn much later in the Rambam, this special rabbinical court gave us our whole prayer liturgy, all we used to pray and bless, freestyle before these guys came along, and they gave us organized, codified prayer as it is, the basic structure that all the different customs have to adhere to. So even the customs, Ashkenaz, Sfard, Nusachari, could deviate, go a little bit. they all have the same skeletal structure, and that was set by them. The Anshikas have done, prayer liturgy, the brachas that we make, be it on food, be it on mitzvahs, Birkas Hamazon, Kiddush, Havdalah, these guys instituted it, right? They were, and they were super qualified, being the all-stars, having prophets amongst them made them particularly qualified to give us it to, give us institutionalized prayer. No one else, was, I guess much early in history we didn't need it because our freestyle prayer was good enough, but then as we became less eloquent and less thought out as to what we really need or what we should ask for and what's good for the world, they were the only ones qualified at that time when we needed institutionalized prayer to give us institutionalized prayer, being how super they were and having prophets in their midst. Now, the last of this great assembly, was Shimon HaTzadik. So he himself was one of the 120. The Kibot Torah Shebal Peh Mikulam, and now he was, aside from himself having been, he was a member of Score, and he had also learned from all of them. So he outlived them all because he was younger than all of them, right? But being younger, he took advantage. He learned from all of them, and he outlived them. And he himself served as high priest, Kohen Gadol, after Ezra, who himself was a Kohen Gadol. Okay, so we've gone through, we did a lot today, and we're going to keep true to our word and limit this to 20-minute slots. So it shouldn't be too much to absorb, in one sitting. But we have gone through the entire transmission of the oral law from the time that Moshe got it from the mouth of God, all the way straight through the whole first, the period of the Yoshua and the Judges, through the whole first temple period, through the Babylonian exile, to the beginning of the Second Commonwealth, the time of the Second Temple period. So there's like a solid, I'd say, 1,000 years worth of Torah, of transmission, of which we've learned about today. And we have the names, we know who gave who to, what to who. So we know how to trace it back all the way back to Moshe. Next time we meet, we'll go through the rest of the generations, leading up to Ravina and Ravashi. If we'll get that far in one sitting. Okay, take care, everyone. Have a good night. Subscribe to this channel. You want to do the whole Rambam? You want to do it with me? So subscribe so you'll get notifications, because I don't know, can't tell you already now ahead of time when's the next time I'm going to post. But if you subscribe, you'll get. But also, we don't just do this Rambam. We do the Rambam's Moreh Nevuchim, his guide to the perplexed. We do the Rambam's commentary on Mishnah. And we have a lot of other great stuff we do on this channel. We do Rif. We do Kuzari. We do Derech Hashem Ramchal. We're going to start Metzilas Yesharim. Did I say we do Rif? We do Aruch HaShulchan, the laws of kosher, which you need for rabbinical ordination, and the laws of Shabbos. Lots, and I also share my own thoughts. So don't miss out. Subscribe to this channel. Subscribe. Right? Subscribe. Okay? Subscribe. I hit that subscribe button. Right? Subscribe. Now check out our website. evangelia.com. Check out our website, evangelia.com. There's like so much great material there. So much really good stuff. You don't want to miss out. Okay, everyone, have a good night.